I'm starting a brand new save, attempting to get from the lower leagues in Spain to La Liga. But yes, indeed, there is a huge catch. When it comes to creating a tactic, I'm not allowed to use a meta tactic. Yep, that means no higher tempo, no counter press, counter combination, and absolutely no much more often pressing, no get stuck in, and no high press. So we're going to have to come up with a different way to win. And this late in the Football Manager cycle, I'm quite looking forward to this. So welcome to Spain and welcome to Badalona. Now these are the poor neighbours, if you like, of Barcelona. There you go, there is the area of Catalonia that is Badalona, and just down the road is Barcelona. So the goal is to get this team into La Liga and get them in a match against Barcelona. And we're going to do it, like I said in the intro, using a large degree of anti-meta tactics. There's going to be a lot of things we don't use that nearly every successful tactic does incorporate. So to counter-attack that, we need to really rely on the players' strengths that we've got in the squad and the ones we managed to bring in. Now, as you can see, the day one squad is absolutely tiny. In fact, we've only got 15 professional players at the club currently. And that's not going to change a great deal because we've got a transfer budget of 0 and a negative wage budget already. Now, Badalona start in the Segunda Federación Grupo 3. So, there's a long way to go. Now, these divisions are split into quite a few subdivisions. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6. There's loads of them. I've lost count. Then if you get up there, you can move up to the next stage, the Primera, and then after you get through that, you get to the second La Liga level, and then you've got to the main La Liga level. So we've got a big journey to go. So I've started to put them into a tactic to get us going. This is the first version of the tactic. I'm sure it's going to change. So if we focus on the team instructions first, that's mostly the area where these meta things come in. In possession, there you can see I'm going pretty slim line. I'm only going to use play out defense and lower tempo at the minute. We might nudge it up to slightly lower, but one thing we will not be doing is cranking it right up to higher tempo. There's going to be no higher tempo football this entire save. So down it goes to slightly lower or lower, one of the two. There's going to be no run at defense, and there's going to be no play for set pieces either. So into transition we go. I'm toying with allowing myself to have one or the other, either counter press or counter, but we won't be using both of them. 99% of these really successful tactics have both of them. So it'll either be one or the other, probably counter press, because I think I'm going to go for more of a possession game. The teams in the real world that do possession, they do apply pressure as soon as they lose the ball to get it back. After that, we'll either hold our shape or simply let the players do what they want. And out of possession, there'll be absolutely no much more often. The most we're going to go is more often, but most of the time we'll probably have it at standard and pick out the players in the game on the player instructions who we want to press more. And absolutely no, get stuck in. That is out of the equation. Not forgetting, there'll be no high press. So we can either go mid block or we can go low block, but we're not going to go high press. So all that means it's going to be pretty tricky. So what we need to do is, because we've got pretty slimline team instructions, we need to use the players and their strengths to get a tactic working really well. Now, if I pick out one player here, Severa, let's have a little look at him. This is Danny Severa. He's not a bad player at this level. You can see he's an advanced playmaker, attacking central midfielder. His attribute range, his standouts are his flair and his passing and his vision. Therefore, I've asked him to take more risks. He can dribble as well with 12, so he's going to dribble more, shooting more often because he's got long shots of 11, and I want him to get further forward. That's kind of the baseline of what we want to do for each player. If I look at his midfield partner, Markel Rodriguez, he's only got to take fewer risks and get further forward, because if I look at him, his passing and his flair are okay, but his vision's not very good at 7, so I don't want him to play crazy passes. But he does have a player trait that arrives late in opponent's area, so I'm going to ask him to get further forward. Similar story with the fullbacks. At the minute, I've got this player on an inverted wing back. That might change, but what won't change is I'm going to ask him to take fewer risks, because his passing is 8 and his vision is 5. So he's not good enough. He's just going to give the ball away. If I was just trying to dominate and get this team guaranteed promotion, these two would be on wing-back attack. They'd be crossing from the byline, taking more risks, yada, yada, yada. But we're not going to do that. Now, our first preseason game was against top-level team Lens, so that's a tricky start, and by half-time, it wasn't looking pretty. We were getting overrun, and my minimalistic tactic was getting exposed quite a lot. By half-time, it was 4-0. So I made some changes to certain positions. This is what preseason is all about, trying to find your best team and best setup. And in the second half, we were absolutely superb. Lens couldn't score against us that half, and we scored twice and won the half 2-0. The game ends 4-2, but as you can see from the match momentum, we turned it around completely in the second half. Standout player in that game, and probably my standout player all of pre-season, was Jean-Paul Njoli. He's French, he's 23. I'm not sure how he's landed at Badalona, but as you can see from his attribute spread, pretty good all-round player. And I've moved quickly to seal him to a longer-term contract till 2026 because most of the squad are out of contract at the end of the season. So I expect a big turnover and we don't have a lot of money. So rather than bring in higher wage player, I got him locked down. But I have managed to bulk the squad out with a good amount of free transfers because we're going to need them. We can't go in with 15 first-team players. All these aren't mine. Mine are about halfway through here. So we've got them into this sort of system. Now, the type of level of player we're able to attract at this level is Kalu Uche. Now, he's been around the block a bit. Check out his career. And the funny thing is, he's only just younger than me. He's 41 years of age. I've got him for a season because he can play any of the front positions and his wages weren't crazy. Now, his physicals are drastically on the decline. So I'm hoping to use him off the bench. The other player I brought in who probably will make an impact is Paulo Liago. Now, he's Spanish and I was able to get him from Sporting on loan because he is Spanish. He's 17, so if he was from Portugal, he wouldn't be allowed to move over. But because he's a Spanish national, we've managed to get him on loan for a season. Now, he started out at Real Madrid. He's probably going to be a really good player in a few years' time, but we're going to try and nurture him and see what he can do for us this season. Great first touch, good technical player. He's probably going to start most games in midfield. And because he can play higher up as well, he does give us the option of just changing to a more attacking 4-2-3-1 if we need to. I changed the position of the left back, mostly because I want to use his crossing ability. He's got good crossing ability, he's got good pace. Now, he can't pass for toffee and his vision's terrible. But he is a good defender at this level. His tackling's good, his marking's good, his position's good, and his decisions are good. He's not a bad left back. They say he's a better full back on defence, and it's not hard to see why, but I want to get him higher up the pitch to do the crossing. So that'll be a key position. I've gone for a flat 3 in midfield. We've got 2 more attacking midfielders either side of a deep lying playmaker. Nando Caseda, first touch is good, his technique's good, his passing and vision are more than good enough for this level, and he can drop back as well. If we're trying to hold on to a lead, he can drop into a more traditional looking 4-3-3. But like I say, this will probably morph as the season goes on. For example, I've got my main man, my striker here, as a complete forward. And if you go by his star ratings, he wants none of it, but you tell me he can't do it. He's 6'2". He's pretty much the all-round striker. So I've got him trying to learn that role now, but his player traits do stand out. He likes to try to beat the offside trap, so he's probably a better advanced forward. But in games where the opposition have a high defensive line, we'll probably change that to advanced forward so he can beat the offside trap. On the flip side, if teams are defending deep, I might even drop him back to a deep line forward so he can drop deep and make the centre-backs follow him. For example, in this pre-season friendly, I played him as a deep line forward so he could be a bit more of a creator to get the inside forwards in the game, and it works a treat here as he drops off deep and lays the through ball. So we're about to start our first season. What to expect, I'm not so sure. Now, as far as pre-season odds go, we're not particularly fancied, are we, in 15th at 50-1. There's definitely some teams that are much more fancied at 2-1, 12-5, 5-2. Now, the setup of the league is 1 automatic and then 4 go into the playoffs, where I believe you go up against the teams that finish in the playoff situations in the other groupos, as you can see. So it's going to be a draw situation. So we just need to finish as high up as we can and try and shoot for these playoffs. During pre-season, the tactic did morph. At the minute, I've got a regroup on, but I might switch that to counter press in certain matches. It all depends, but I've got a couple of versions to switch between. I'm not settled yet. We will find out as the season gets going. One other thing to point out is the facilities at this club, despite being quite low down in Spain, they're not too bad. Youth facilities are at 11, academy coaching is also at 10, with youth recruitment at 10. So maybe we'll be able to get some players in. They are playing at this stadium at the minute in Vic, Spain, but I do believe that's due to some conflict over in Spain. This is not their home stadium. The season began with a 3-2 defeat. We've battled hard but weren't good enough. But as expected, Jean-Paul was proving to be the main man as we got our first win in our first home game. We made it 2 in a row with a big win against pre-season favourites Ibiza, and we're just on the back of a really good run, including 2 back-to-back 4-1 wins, and the start of the season has been fantastic. After 7 matches, we're sitting top, but it's going to be a super tight league. So we've started well. Another standout has been Andres here. He wants to be a striker, but because I'm in the Jean-Paul business, I've moved him out to inside forward. Not traditional either, because he's right-footed and he's going to play on the right. Normally I'd have to have a left side player on there, but because he's playing outside there on the right-hand side, his striker instincts mean he gets in the box a lot. He scored 5 in 7. And you can tell he's a natural striker. As soon as he gives the ball up, he gets himself inside the box most of the time, and his finishing is really good. Now, I used those first early season matches for more tactic tweaking. There's been a couple of role changes. We've got a couple of fullbacks on attack now, and in the Team instructions, you can see there is an overlap right and left. This depends on what we're playing against. If we're playing against a narrow team, we'll use that. If it's a more traditional one, we go to this one, which has got a couple of underlaps to get the central midfielders involved as well. I am using counter press. I have gone for that, but it is situational. I will knock that back to regroup on occasions if we take the lead 2-0. So flying high at the top of the league, but then we start to hit a few roadblocks. It's going to be a long season, this. And there was a theme in the goals we were conceding, a load coming from crosses. The data hub was telling me that as well, because I checked the last 10 matches and 7 of the goals conceded were coming from crosses. And you can see the change in our fortunes. That great start has been levelled out by a really, really bad run. So we've been on a shocking run, and I've made some more tactical tweaks, and I'm hoping these ones will get us back on track. Just some tiny tweaks in terms of player instructions, player roles, and we've dropped the overlap. We only bring that in situational. If it looks like it's going to work, I'll try it in match. But that move to make Philip OC an attacking fullback has been the right move. He's got 7 assists, so he's doing his job down that left-hand side. But I am having problems in front of him. Franco has just scored a couple, so he might be the answer. But other than that, the output from the left-hand side has not matched the output from the right-hand side, where Andres has scored 9 times. So more tweaking to the tactic led to us going on our best run of the season so far, and Paulo Iago, the player on loan from Sporting, was proven to be a big catalyst in that change. He's now scored 3 times with 3 assists, and his attributes are on the rise, so Sporting are going to be happy. And since January, we're on pretty decent form. We've only lost to 3 matches, and we have risen to 3rd in the league. Here is a slight change. I was having problems down that left-hand side, so I've just abandoned it. I've abandoned it and moved the player inside. Now, when he's not on international duty, it's Paulo, but because he is an under-17 player, he's continuously getting called up by the under-19, so he misses a chunk of matches. But when he's playing there, he's pretty much the perfect player to play there. I let him roam around a little bit. He's got only the player instruction of stay wider, so he just try to cover that area. But Ose has been that good down that left-hand side. I don't think he needs the backup. When I watch it in match, he gets up and down that flank. He's got 12 assists now and spends most of his time up there. So I just thought, let's have him kind of assisting, but getting involved backing up the striker, Jean Paul, who is currently a deep line forward, but that has changed so much. If I look at his form here, he's played the last 5 games as a deep line forward. Before that, he was a complete forward, experimented a bit with advanced forward, but his attributes are on the rise. I think he could be a player that stays with us throughout here, because I really like him, and he scored 15 times in 23, and he doesn't take penalties. So it's at 3rd. If you look at the past positions, that was our rise at the start of the season, then that is the massive slump we had. We went down to 7th, and then it got a bit worse and went down to 9th. But now on recovery period, in at least playoff zone, and we're kind of steady now. 4th place, 3rd place. But there's not long of the season to go. It looks like Cornella are out of sight. They've got 62 points. We've got 49. So we just need to stay in these playoffs. And basically, everyone down to 11th has probably got a shout of being in these playoffs. So a classic thing when you use the meta tactics is you got to be top of fouls made table and yellow cards. But as you can see, we're nowhere to be seen in the top echelons of that, so that's a good sign. We're more focusing on the other side of the game. Our possession, which was 2nd, the pass completion ratio is joint top basically. Passes attempted were right up there as well, and chances created is good. So that's what I'm wanting to see, and pretty happy with that so far. I'd say we're probably conceding too many goals. We are the top scorers in the league with 61, but we've conceded 53. Everyone else seems to focus on defence. That's probably got a lot to do with us trying to find our settled formation, because I have been tweaking an awful lot, and someone like Marcos at the back here, one of my better defenders, I've moved him around a bit. As you can see, I tried him as a libero, got him back as a central defender now. I'm going to probably stick with that. Finish off the season with back-to-back wins looking really good. So this included a really good away victory at Cornella, that team that was way clear on top of the table. It meant we are the form team in the league at the minute, and we go into the playoff situation finishing 3rd. And do you know what? We only finished 5 points behind Cornella, so if we've got our act together a bit earlier, we might have had a chance of automatic promotion. We've stuck with this. It looks like the way forward for this season at least. Paulo's been superb the last few games. 6 assists, 4 goals. We really need to try and get him to extend it till next season. We'll see if Sporting will let us have him. And up front, thank the Lord that we extended that contract when we did, because 18 goals this season, I'm guessing people will be sniffing around him. However, there is a load of players like Severa here who are going to be out of contract soon, and I can't renew it. He's only on £275 a week, but when I've tried to renew his contract, there we are. Nothing outrageous here. All he wants is £525. I can only give him £275, which is currently on, and obviously he's not taking that. And as I look at the contract expiring, you can see that, oh my God, it's worse than I thought. So everybody other than Uche and Anjoli are out of contract in about a month's time. So our season record there, before the playoffs, we played 34 matches, we won 19 of them, so just over half, 55% win percentage, good goal scoring record. We just need to sort out this goals against because 57 is way too many. So into the playoffs, we were drawn against Legarones. And in the home leg, we absolutely battered them, and Jean Paul had a party. The big man up front ended up scoring 4 times in this crucial match. They couldn't deal with him as we put 5 past them, gave ourselves a great chance going into the second leg. And in the second leg, we pretty much locked it down, drawing 1-1, taking the aggregate score 3-6. Which means in the promotion playoff final, we would go up against Aguilar FC. They were in Grupo Cuatro, and as you can see, they were pretty well decent in their league, finishing second. So this could be a tough challenge. So we go into this one with nearly a fully fit squad, which is good news, good news. Now, a lot of these players are going to believe in us at the end of the season. I'm going to try and get some locked in and keep them. But for now, this could be their last couple of games for us. The other big news is the youth candidates have came through, and at our level, it's an excellent intake. You can see them down here. Robert is one of the key players. I mean, a 15-year-old with finishing of 10, first touch of 12, flair 13. He could be something special. Now, all of these lot I've signed. I'm just going to sign them all because they might end up playing next season. We went ahead early with a spot kick. And we got another one. But for some reason, he got cocky and did this. And they took advantage by equalising on the 42nd minute. Pretty disappointing draw, that. Big game then in the second leg. Started really well. With Aguilar stepping up quite a lot, I'm going to change Jean Paul to an advance forward. Extra time. Yeah, we're starting to get battered here. Won't lie, we got pretty battered there. Our man of the match was our goalkeeper, Yaroslav. Penalties. Wait, what? What's that mean? Note to self, check the rules. I guess we better plan for the new season then. A season for which, at the minute, I've got 2 players. One of those is 42. Oh no, he's retiring as well. So I've got 1. Right, into pre-season. So what I've done is I've allowed those contracts to run out on most of the players. And as you can see, the squad is tiny. Looks even worse on the tactics screen where I've basically lost a full defence and a midfielder. But the players that do remain have all re-signed. And crucially, that does include Paulo Liago from Sporting. So I've had a think, and we're never going to have a lot of money at this club, especially in these early days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to prioritise the first 11. So whatever wages I've freed up, I'm going to spend on them. And those exciting youth players that came through the youth candidates, I'm going to use them as the backups. So a player like Robert, who's only 15, shortly 16, so he can take part, I think he can do a job off the bench. He's got plenty of double-figure attributes. He looks like a decent player. Now, granted, we don't have a lot of wage budget, 3,000 a week, which might get me 4 or 5 players for that starting 11. So if we fast forward to the end of pre-season, you can see we have brought in a good amount of players, and we've got a link with Sporting, which I'm quite excited about. So I've got a good relationship with Sporting's B team, so I've managed to bring in 3 more players, which could be the difference between us getting promotion. First one in is Jose Silva. Going to play as an attacking fullback. Check that out, double figures all over the board. Next, I think this will be my new midfielder, Rafael Basugo. Passing to 13, vision's good, good technical player. And finally, for a new option up front is Rafael Nel. He could be the standout player, probably one of the better players in the league. The rest of the players, some of them are going to be starting at centre-back, such as Olaz, and then we've got Victor Ruiz, who can play a few positions that's going to be handy. It's a boy who comes in from African football. Got a big emphasis on this save in getting players from African football, and I've opened up that entire database, so we should see a lot more players coming through. He's one central midfielder, but check out his adaptability higher up. He could even play up front. What that means is the tactic looks a lot better now, as does the squad. It looks a lot fuller. And we've got 3 versions of this tactic to try and get Nel involved. He's there at the minute, but he's more of a striker. He's not going to play there. He's not going to play there. More likely, the man to play there will be Danny Sevilla. He's going to slot in there. Basugo will be our deep line playmaker, and it's going to look a bit like that. It's a far stronger team than we had last season. Now, to fit these boys in, another option may be the 4-3-3, or we go 2 up front, simply moving that attacking midfielder into like a wide striker position. They're the options. So the squad is still small. I won't lie to you, it is still small. There is a couple of the youngsters on the bench there, like Robert, and the backup keeper is the 16-year-old. Let's hope we don't have to use him. If we do get in trouble, we can jump into the dev centre, get some of these youngsters involved as well. But we don't have the money. We're already in the wage budget deficit, so this is pretty much what we're going to go in with. But I think those signings specifically from Sporting have had an effect on our perception in the season preview. You can see we're ranked as third now, third best team in the league. Valencia still way favourites for the league at 2-9. You'll also notice there's another team from Badalona. There is 2 Badalona teams. 2. Messy history where breakups, merges, loads of stuff like that going on. But we're going to have a derby as well. So after a strong pre-season, I was excited to see how this new look team would fare in the league. And we started out with a game against Torrent away from home. That 1-0 win was followed by our first home game of the season, and it was back-to-back wins. And we've just played our third game of the season, and it's another win. 3 wins out of 3. This one, the most impressive. Not only is it away from home, but we absolutely dominated. I'm going to show you the match stats in a minute, but everything was working absolutely perfectly. So we win 3-1, but 64% ball possession. Shots, 24 shots with 12 on target. This new look team are absolutely flying. And unlike last season where I was just trying to get a team together, this is very much now my team. So no excuses. We have the perfect start, but we need to stay there. The very least, it has to be playoffs. Has to be. Welcome back. It's halfway through the season, and the worst news I've got to tell you is that our boy Jean-Paul has agreed a move to Montpellier. They've triggered his release clause, which annoyingly is only 165,000. So I've left him out of the team for a while now because he's agreed to it a bit ago, and he's joining Montpellier next month. So that means Nels started to play. He wasn't in the team at the start, but he's in the team now and he scored 5 times. So it's a blooming good job that we sealed that deal. Now, as for the team, things have gone very well indeed. We carried on that momentum at the start of the season and undefeated all the way until October when Badalona beat us, of all teams. And check out this game. I mean, 25 shots we had. They had 5 and stole it in the 91st minute. To say I was raging was an understatement. But we picked ourselves up and went on another good run. We lost just recently against Barbastro and against Esportio. But we have just been the first team to beat Valencia Mestalla in the league this season through this goal from Chavera. That gave us a 1-0 win. And if you look at the league table, you can see how vital it is. That's their on your feet. We've had the 3, but we are top of the league now by 2 points going into the winter break. We have also just entered the Copa del Rey, and Albacete, a team from the second level, have just been beaten by us on penalties. So that's a nice little bonus. I'm hoping that a little cup run might help this because we are struggling in terms of balance. So when Jean-Paul does go, I don't expect much transfer budget, although they have given us 169k. I'll transfer that over to wage budget because we will need some players because, as you can see, injuries are starting to tot up now. We've got 2 midfielders out and we've got a tiny squad. Season as a whole, though, has been going perfectly to what we are trying to achieve. Possession, we're top of that. Pass completion ratio is 90%. Beautiful. And that's led to chances created being 69. So we are doing what we need to do. Because remember, things like high-intensity sprints were nowhere. And this is fouls made and we're down in 15th. Remember, that meta thing of get stuck in, we don't do any of that. So that shows there is other ways that we can win. We have managed to sign a couple of players. Now, there's players like this guy, Santino, who is Swedish, but he was at Real Sociedad. So there's loads of players that got released by the bigger teams that haven't been able to find a club. So along with Lucas Terra here, we've also picked up on a free transfer. We've managed to bulk out the squad quite nicely. So when Jean-Paul does leave shortly next week, this man is going to be his replacement. So we're back now late into the season, and our exploits in the Copa del Rey meant we ended up playing Atletico Madrid at home. Do you know what? We put up a hell of an effort against one of the greatest teams in Europe as well. Finally succumbing to a 3-1 defeat, but I'm pretty proud of the boys. And as far as the league campaign has gone, since we were last with you, we've absolutely flew. We have just lost our last match, but with 4 games to go, we are top of the league and we are 8 points clear of Valencia, who have lost the same amount of matches as we have, but this season we've won 21 out of 30. Such a better season. We're averaging 2 goals a game 4 and we've only conceded 33, so we have tightened up massively at the back. There has been some outgoings, so at fullback, my relationship with Sporting is in the mud because they recalled our player that we had on loan from them, Jose Silva. They weren't happy. It's one of those annoying ones. They weren't happy that I was playing him every match, but I wasn't playing him as a wing back. I was playing him as a full back. So he leaves us having played 20 games for us with 4 assists, looked really good. Now he's gone back to Sporting. Now, what it does mean is I probably won't be able to get Basugu on loan again for next season, nor Paulo Liago. And even more annoyingly, probably not Rafanel. And that's a huge blow because he has scored 16 times for us in 20 matches. Sporting should be really happy with what we've done with him because every one of his attributes seems to be on the rise. But despite that, we did replace the fullback with another player on loan from Nastic. This is Emil Pruna, and I'm trying to get him to join us at the end of the season because he's going to be out of contract. And he's a nice solid player with 3 assists in his first 8 or so matches. As far as the other tactics goes, these ones and this one, I have not had to use them once. I've just kept this one ticking away and it's been absolutely fantastic. One more win will get us up, maybe two wins, and then we should be promoted on our journey up to the next tier. And one thing's for sure, now we're top of the league by 8 points. I do not want any part of these playoffs. So we're going into this home match against Atletico Baleares, and technically we can win the league here. If we win, Valencia Mestalla mess up, this could be the day that we claim the title. In the second half, this stunner from Paulo meant it was 2-0, and I reckon we've done our bit. And we've done it, we've got ourselves promoted. Let's not talk about the budgets for next season because initially they look pretty horrible. But in our second season, the good times be rolling. So we've done it 2 seasons in a weird way. It was probably better for us to not get promoted first time and go up this time because we're a better team. Although saying that, 3 of the better players are all going to be leaving us. But let's not worry about that. We actually nearly messed it up. Check it out. We got promoted despite losing against Terrassa 2-0 thanks to other results. If you look at the league, Valencia Mestalla lost again, so they can't catch us, and Sabadell, the other close challengers, only drew. But we've done it. I don't care how we get up, we are up. Now that means next season we go into these 2 leagues here. It looks like a similar structure, whereas the top team from each league will get promoted, then you've got a playoff situation. So nothing complicated, we know what we need to do. But I think for next season, we just need to stay in the league because there is 5 teams that get put into the relegation zone in each of the 2 leagues, which is pretty brutal. So at this point, when I'm planning for a new season, I've got a couple of games left of this campaign, but I'm just thinking about next season. You take out which players aren't going to be there for next season and ones you'd like to potentially replace. For me, the right back's going to be going. I know I said I wanted to sign him, but he's turned us down to go to Real Murcia instead. So instantly I know I'm going to need a new right back. And then of course I've got my Sporting players that I won't be able to keep, so I'm going to need a new striker to go alongside the right back. And it looks like I'm going to need 2 midfielders. Now, Paulo's an interesting one because we do have an optional buy on him. But Sporting know what they're doing because the fee they've slapped in was 900,000. My God, we cannot afford that. Like seriously, we cannot afford that. So already, without even thinking about the other players, if they're good enough or not, I'm going to need 4 first teamers to go in this team. So it could be a case of these boys in the reserves and the youth candidates seeing if they're going to be able to step up and looking at them. I don't know if they're going to be. Now, Robert is a 16-year-old centre-back who I had initial high hopes for, but he really has digressed instead of progressed. Haven't given him any game time, to be fair. And some of the others... Now, thankfully, Robert, the striker Robert, has been alright. He's been alright. He's had game time off the bench as an inside forward, and if you look at his development progress chart here, he's definitely moving on up. So he's going the right way, so he can definitely contribute next season. He's only 16. And I did say I was going to tap into the African market, and I have got a player coming in. Got this deal agreed back in January. This is Thierry Cassie. Striker is in the Ivory Coast at the minute. I believe that's where his team is. Yes, he's not absolutely prolific, but he's got good finishing, good composure. Off the ball's decent. Bit of a physical presence, so he will be an option to play up front. Yeah, but if you look at the squad and the sheer lack of bodies in there, when you take the players out that won't be there next season, big pre-season. And wrapping up the season, here's our season stats. We're pretty much top of everything I want to be top of, specifically that pass completion ratio and the average possession, because the way we're playing our football, we need to be excelling at that sort of thing. So it's pre-season now, and Badalona find ourselves in the Premier Federation. We're in Group 1, and this is the goal for the season, simply stay in the league. However, when you look at the season preview, we're quite fancied in 6th place. So I'm quite happy with that. I thought we would be ranked way low down, and if you look at the league table, it is pretty spicy down there with 5 getting relegated. So the aim is to stay in the league, but we've got a little eye on the playoffs as always. Now, recruitment for the pre-season has been tough, I won't lie. We still have not spent a bean, not spent a penny. We're going in with the same tactic, but as you can see there, there's a few new faces in the starting 11. If I look at the transfers, we've managed to bring in 6 players, most of which will play, but some are just backups as well. Now the standouts, Paul Rivera from Real Madrid's B team. So instantly you think he's got a bit of pedigree. Now winger, forward, attacking midfielder, not sure where to play him yet, but as you can see from his attribute range, he's going to be a big talent, and he's only 19 years of age. I kind of want to play him in behind there, so we might give him a little bit of a cheeky retrain. As far as strikers go, Daniel Gonzalez might be the man this season. He's just blooming broke his cheekbone in pre-season, which isn't great, but he looks like he could be the best option to play up front. He comes from Osasuna's B team, released by them. Got ourselves a new right back, an experienced one in Manu Sanchez. Wants to play as a complete wing back, so he's an all-round baller, so I'm excited to see what he can do. There's also a couple of youngsters there. Oscar Hamer, he's going to be shipped out on loan. He's only 16, and this young Cameroon player, remember the African vibe we're going for, he comes in as well, number 3 transfer. The only other player who's going to get a chance to start is Bryce Val. This is an interesting player, so he's been released by Villarreal. I think I'm going to play in midfield as a playmaker. His passing 11, vision's good. He's that much of a baller. He can jump down into libero as well. Some of his mentals aren't great, such as his composure is bizarre, really. It's only 4 despite being a good technical player, so we need to look at that. But he looks like a decent player. So that's the signings this season. At the end of last season, we did manage to get a couple of players in. 3 players, all from Africa. So Thierry Cassie that we saw, the striker, he's going to be a backup player. As is, I'm going to call him Abdo Ba, because I'm not taking that one on. But this is Ba from Senegal, anywhere across the midfield, anywhere across the attacking midfield. He comes in from Coton FC, based in Senegal. The last player is from Botswana. This is why we open up the African database, and it brings about all these players. He's my new backup left back, which means the squad is quite a manageable size. I don't like my squad too big, but don't get me wrong, I could do with a couple more players. The problem I've got is we've busted our wage budget already, because the board just do not like to give us any wage budget. And if you look at the finances, you can probably see why, because we're still $500,000 in the red. So we're going to pretty much have to go with what we've got. So we've got a lot of players from last season, and unfortunately I have busted my link up with Sporting CP. Now they've got a rake of players on the loan list at the minute. There they are. We could have probably had them all, but it's all because of our problems with Jose Silva when they recalled him because of that stupid thing in Football Manager where we played him as a fullback and not a wing back. So now when I go to try and loan one of these players, you can see poor relationship between the two clubs. And at one stage we had 4 players on loan from Sporting. And the quality of some of these players that we could have had this season from this team is really upsetting me. And if I look at my squad, I'm definitely short of at least 1 centre-back. That is the big area of concern. Now, the development centre has us a couple of centre-backs, but as you can see from Robert Puges here, he's not going to end up being a centre-back because his heading is 4. His jumping reach is okay, but he's not strong enough. I'm actually retraining him to be a wing-back, and he might be a fine wing-back, but we are really struggling in that centre-back area. I don't know what to think about this season because the pre-season has been a bit up and down. A lot of these teams had divisions below us, and we haven't exactly blown them away. We did get a good result against Saint Etienne from Ligue 1. Got a 0-0 draw against them right at the start, but despite initial worries about the season, our first game gave us a nice 3-1 win. Pina here to Markel. Boom. Brian Pina, another player that we brought in at the back end of last season. Interesting player. So he's going to play central midfield, the more attacking midfielder. He's going to replace the player we got from Sporting on loan. But his history is interesting. Starts out at Barca, our local rivals. They sell him for $250,000 to Slovakia. Then he goes to Latvia. And now he's ended up back in Spanish football with us. But I think he could be the X factor. Good all-round midfielder. So that's a nice start. But like I say, the main goal here is to get to safety. So let's see where we're at. When we get to Christmas time, fingers crossed, we're doing okay. Welcome back then. It is January. We're just going into the second half of the season. Our stadium looks different, doesn't it? Because we are renting that from Sabadell, who do have a cracking stadium. But ours is just not good enough. So for God knows how long, we're going to be in that stadium. As far as the season goes, well, this goal kind of sums it up. We have had a stunning little first season at this level. We've just lost the last 2 games, which is a bit of a blow, but it does mean that we are sat second, only 3 points off the automatic promotion spots. We've lost 5 matches, and those last 2 games are massively disappointing. But if you look a little bit further down here at the clean sheets, this is what we've done it on. The backbone of this season, surprisingly maybe for us, has been our defensive record. Castro is leading the way with 8 clean sheets. Because in the 19 matches, we've only conceded 18 goals. So we've been super solid, but we're not scoring as many, 27 goals. But the tactic's been working fine. The midfield are getting on well. And the new strike force of Gonzalez, Riviera, just starting to get going. I've moved Gonzalez to a poacher. He was playing deep line forward, but he's going to play a poacher. Just gets a bit further up. He's bagged 5 so far. And behind him, Riviera, that I like to call him, the guy from Real Madrid. He's starting to click. He's got 6 goals, looks good. Other than that, no changes to the tactic at all. It's just been what we used last season. That slow tempo, pretty standard stuff with a mid-block as well. But we've had 6 1-0 wins, and if you look at the squad size, our tiny squad, bless their hearts, they're doing wonders. They are doing wonders. We've had an internal takeover, which kind of eased the financial burden a little bit, but it hasn't meant any additional funds. I can maybe get one player in on loan to help see us through here. But as far as the rest of the season goes, it's going to be a disappointment now if we don't get to the playoffs at least. But if you look at it a bit closer, it is a mad league because 16th place Osasuna have got 23 points. So you couldn't really them out of getting to the playoffs because they're only, 8 points behind the playoffs, even though they're in the relegation zone. So we don't want to get too cocky, even though it's been going really well. As far as the youth team squad, I'm still waiting for players to jump into that first team candidate spot. We have got one who's jumped in there now in Ricard. Not sure what to do with him. His mentals are good, which is always a pretty decent sign. He's a good tackler, he's a good marker. He looks like he could be a defender of some sort of description, but the rest of them, they're kind of struggling a bit. So as far as the team goes, we're third in possession and pass completion ratio. It does 3 at the top there. We seem to be playing similar ways of styles of play of Ponferradina and Amor Bieta. Similar styles of play. We're not creating as many chances as we said, but the style of play is working pretty well, and there we go, top of the clean sheets. So for the rest of the season, we've just got through the Copa del Rey first round. We've got Racing Santander coming up. We've got to shoot for promotion now. We've got to shoot for it. But the other good news is we've got an absolute load of players here that are about to go out on loan. So I'm hopeful that these will give the players a nice little boost in their development, because the youth candidates coming through for next season is looking good. Now that could be down to the fact that our team aren't great, but it's looking good. So fingers crossed we get another batch of good young players. The good news is the first game back after the winter break is against the team that are bottom of the league. So we could have a chance here just to get back in the swing of it after those 2 straight defeats. And the good news was we did get the victory with a good 4-goal win. Now we just got to see how we do for the rest of the season. And hopefully to help us out on that late journey is Aitor Gismira, a free transfer from Atletico Madrid, and I'm banking on that passing, technique and vision combo for him to be a quality player. So through to the end of the season now, a lot of games our pass map looked like that, where we just tried to pass the opposition to death. The heat maps looked a lot like this, with the number 16 being the deep line playmaker dropping deep, with the left back more attacking slightly than the right back. With 10 games to go, we were still second, but Ponferradina are getting away from us, 5 points clear at the minute. Since the January break, it's been a bit up and down. We're just trying to get our form back. Because Rivera is such a standout player, when we go to his tactic, you can see he's got his personalised tab there. That's because he's got more player instructions than any other player that plays that position. So he's got more direct passing thanks to his flair passing and vision. Add to that, take more risks. I'm going to ask him to cross more often because quite often he gets out wide. After another draw, it was time for us to host the league leaders in a vital match, which was further complicated by first choice right back Manu Sanchez being out for the season, and that meant young development player Robert Pujadas getting promoted to the first team squad. We took the lead from the penalty spot, but they proved why they're the best team in the league as they beat us 2-1. And looking at the league table, we're running out of games now to catch them. It's always a good sign when this comes up on your news feed. That's because right near the end of the season, we're in our worst run of form, probably since we started at the club. Well, blimey me. We've made the playoffs, but let me tell you this. We've only just made them. Check out the league table. We do it by 2 points. We finish 13 points behind the league leaders, Deportivo Aragon, the Lord of the Rings team, and we've just lost to them in our last game of the season 4-2. And you can see since March, we've only won twice. We have been in free fall. I think it's probably down to the fact that my squad are absolutely knackered. I haven't really changed from the tactic. Players have been moved around because of the injuries. New player Gismira hasn't really got going. He's a good player, just hasn't really got going yet. What it means is we're in the playoffs and the first game is against Real Murcia, who are in the other league. Now they finished second in their league. If I can have a little look at it, there they are. They had nearly won their league. They did lose 8 matches, so that league was a bit closer than ours, but this is going to be tough. If you'd asked me like before March, I would have been confident going in, but because that injury to Sanchez, of all players, the right back, it's completely trashed us because he was basically our only out-and-out right back. I've had to chuck Marcos over there, who's a centre-back, and he's not enjoying himself out there. Gonzalez has had a good season. He scored 14 times. Riviera, when he's fit, has been great. He keeps getting injured, but he has scored 11 times. If we can keep them fit, I think we'll have a chance. Andres, he's 34. He's had a good season. He's scored 16 times. He's going to retire. I would use him next season, so I'm going to ask him to change his mind, especially if we don't go up. But getting ready for this next match, I'm going to rest all the players for 2 days. I want them fresh for this one. First leg, we get a very good 2-2 draw. Brian Pina with 2 wonder goals. Here's the first. Check it out. This man has been a real talent this season. Great signing, 8 goals from midfield. He's gave us a great chance for the second leg. Second leg was a goal fest. It didn't start great as we conceded a goal after only 2 minutes to Abraham. Despite that, we kept fighting back. And stupid mistakes meant that Murcia kept going back in front. It looked like it was out of sight at one point. Golden Boy Rivera gave me hope though. But this penalty was the final nail in the coffin as we fail in the playoffs 5-6. Like, I'm devastated, but it's not to be unexpected with the run that we finished the season on. So we go out in the playoffs. I thought we were going to do it after that first leg performance, but the run since March, with only 2 wins, we didn't actually deserve to go up. My big worry now is that I've got a lot of this squad who are good enough for this level, have proven it. A lot of this squad are out of contract now. In fact, if I look at it, the year 2026, it's around half of the squad's contracts are up, and a lot of those are starters. So I'm going to try my best to keep hold of them. Otherwise, it's going to be a huge turnover. And as for the tactic, what I wanted to do each season, as we got a little bit higher up, was actually take a couple of instructions away. I mean, we could easily take this away. It's not going to affect things too much. You can see how minimal it is. More often pressing, I've gone with that. Part of me thinks go back to slightly more often and then instruct each player to do a bit of extra pressing. But we'll see for next season, we'll see. So close, but yet so far. Despite that, I was looking forward to a good season, and then this hit me like a ton of bricks. Because of the financial status, we are reverting to semi-professional status. If you're wondering what that means for us, it means we can only offer part-time contracts on a wage of £5 a week. It truly is devastating news for our already tiny squad. The one bit of good news was I did manage to get one player in before that decision was made, and he's far too good for us. Far too good. So currently I'm trying to get to La Liga from the lower leagues in Spain using anti-meta tactics. After 2 seasons we got out of the Segunda, but last season in the next level up there was heartbreak in the playoffs, so this time we go again. So this is the man we signed, Rainier, from Real Madrid. Not sure how we got him, but we've got him. In his first match, he had an immediate impact, scoring, and he laid on 2 assists. He could be the difference maker this season. Also scoring there was Burama Kumare. Now, I've got him on loan from Barcelona, and it was a free loan. Absolute bonus. I'm guessing he's going to be a worldie when he progresses. We've got him for a season. He's only 18. But remember, we have now digressed to a semi-professional club, so it's going to be a tough season to try and get promoted. We pretty much kept the same tactic, although I have dropped the pressing completely down to slight now, and the only change I've made is I've got my attacking players doing the pressing, so inside forward will close down more, as will the attacking midfielder and the striker. The rest of them, they're not going to do that. They're just going to hold back on standard pressing. We had the huge blow of having to cash in on Rivera. He's gone to Cordoba after they triggered his release clause for 240,000. That's going to be a huge blow because he scored 11 times for us last season and was our best player. But I've got high hopes for this man to replace him. The only downside is we could only get him on a 1-year deal, so we better make the most of him. So welcome back. It's our second season in the Primera Federación, and we've started with a great 4-0 win. So good times. Now the season preview has us in 6th. There's some big teams in here, some big B teams in here. Real Sociedad, Bilbao, going to be a toughie. I'm quite surprised that the Media Dream 11 does not have our new Brazilian superstar in it, but whatever. He's got a few more player instructions in that pocket. Dribble more because he's dribbling his 13. Shoot more because he's got long shots of 13, so I think that could come in handy. I'm asking him to get wider, go forward, and there's that close down more as well. The midfield 3 are the same this season, although I'm going to start Gismira, the Atletico youngster we signed. He's going to start from the start this season. My only worry really is down at centre-back. We're not too strong there. Now, this is a cheeky one. Now, Rafael is joining us in January. He's a Brazilian youngster that randomly my scouts found. I don't know how they found him. He's only 18. He's on 30 quid a week. So even we could sign him. So he's coming in. He's going to be a right back. But we're going to our 4th season now. So 3rd and then 1st in the Segunda. Last season, we looked like we were going to get up there before that collapse. A bit of a collapse we had. Now, if you look at the size of our squad, it's not massive. We have had to promote quite a few youth players to fill the bench. Robert is actually progressing quite nicely despite those random attribute drop there. He's going to be a good player this season. He'll probably start quite a few matches. Ricard's on the bench as well. Very much a squad player, but he's only 17. And then there's Robert with the good mentals who might be able to contribute something. And I do have quite a lot of players out on loan as well. So if we need to recall them, these probably are the standouts from the youth team. In game 2, we came back from 2 goals down thanks to that man again. Check out this equaliser. But still somehow managed to lose despite completely dominating. So, with our current situation being semi-professional, if we get to the playoffs, it might be somewhat of a miracle, but we're going to shoot for it anyway. Let's see how we go. Well, the first thing to say is the finances haven't got any better, so we're still very much a semi-professional club. In the Copa del Rey, we gave top La Liga side Sevilla an almighty scare. And let's just say we've had an interesting time in the league, including this 7-4 victory where we had 29 shots. Obviously a very strange match that. We've had a pretty good defensive record other than that. And as for the league campaign, so far so good. We're sitting top of the league. We have lost 5 matches, but we've only drew 1. So we're winning a truckload of matches. That little change of getting rid of them more often and just having the front three doing the pressing seems to have worked. And speaking of the front three, they have been the standouts. Gonzalez moved him over to the right hand side now instead of playing up front, and he's responded with 8 goals and a very good average rating. Keyman, our Brazilian superstar, has lived up to the hype with 6 goals, 7 assists and a stunning average rating, and Barcelona have got themselves a potential worldie here. He's only 18, but he's already scored 14 in 19 games for us. He is absolutely lethal. So obviously things have gone way better than I planned, and now it'll be a bit of a disappointment if we don't at least make the playoffs, but we do have one huge problem. So this is the squad, and I'm very, very happy with it. But as you can see down the side there, I would say 66% of them, 2/3, are probably out of contract in the summer. And the big problem for us is we cannot offer any contracts. If I take Robert here, the young player, I can't even offer him a deal because it's all non-contract because of this semi-professional thing. It's going to wreck us. Now, thankfully, I've got quite a few players in the starting 11 that have got longer contracts, such as Pina. He's with us till 2028. There's a couple of others as well, but a lot of them are going to be going. To say we need to get promoted this season is an understatement. I think if we do manage to get promoted, that professional status should go back to professional. Well, I hope so anyway. Early signs on the youth intake are excellent, but it said that last season and it turned into a bit of a duff, so we'll have to wait and see. But in more promising news, Rafael, that young right back that we managed to snare from Brazilian football, I mean, I don't even know what level Ita Pipoco Esporte Club are at. I mean, judging by the stadium, not a very good one. So fair play to the scouts for just plucking him out of nowhere. Let's see what he does. He's going to play at right back. He probably will gazump Manu Sanchez eventually, who's 31. Seems like a natural replacement. And what I was dreading has already started to happen, with 2 of my young players being the first to jump ship. And look at this, some of these Spanish footballers are slating me for not using the meta. In the first game back from the winter break, we got the win after coming back from 2 goals down. Should have been way more comfortable. So let's see what we could do to the end of the season. I've got my assistant manager with me. What can go wrong? Quite a lot, apparently. Brilliant. We're late in the season now, and as you can see, it's been a bit of a mixed time. This game against Bilbao was a joke, though. 4-0 we lost, and as you can see, there was nothing in it. All of their shots just went in. I'm not sure what my boy Castro was doing. He's usually pretty solid. But what that meant is we're struggling to catch Deportivo Aragon, Lord Aragon. We're 5 points off them, and there's not many games left. It looks like we might be in the playoffs. Saying that, though, we do have quite a few games, so maybe they'll mess up. Those few games we had left, to be fair, we were pretty much faultless, including this game against Olot. If I pause it there, you'll see we managed to have 4 goals disallowed. I mean, total domination, we did get the win, but it was getting frustrating, as you can see. And it got more frustrating in the next match as we drew. But other than that, a really good run in, but not enough to catch Deportivo as they take down the title, which means we're going to the playoffs. And in the playoffs, we've got a super tough game against Valencia Mestalla, a team we don't have the best record against. So yeah, disappointing in the league, but I don't think we could have done much more. And then we're going into this Valencia game, and I've got 2 of my key players going to miss it. Philip Osai, the day 1 left back, 14 assists this season. He might miss both games, which is horrible. And Danny Gonzalez with 15 goals is also going to miss the first leg. Not ideal. I have put Rafael into the team now. I didn't want to wait. He's going to be fantastic, and he's just started to turn it on. His form's just started to get good. But some of the big players have decided to jump ship from our semi-professional ranks. Renier opted to explore options. I knew he was going to, but it's still a massive blow. To help us out, I was hoping on a good youth intake, but it hasn't been great. The standout is here, Kim Hyang Ho, striker. He's got good finishing. His composure's not the best. He's the best of a pretty bad bunch, to be honest. But the way it's going, this is weirdly morphing into a youth save, because if we stay at being semi-professional, we can't bring anyone in, which is why this loan move for Yassine Cheju here, back to Cameroon. He's on a loan at Cotton Sport. It's been really handy. His attributes are flying, and the way it's looking, he will be a main player next season. So the good news is we go into this playoff in electric form. The bad news is I don't think we've ever beat Valencia. We fell behind to an own goal but fired straight back thanks to the Barcelona wonder kid before taking the lead in the second half. And then later on, the X factor from Renier. He did it again in the 96th minute, giving us a whopping 4-1 first leg lead. In the second leg, we locked it down with a defensive mentality, and we even cranked it right down to a lower tempo. And it was getting close, but thankfully Kumare sealed the deal late on. So unlike last season, this season we go through 5-6. And it looks like we'll be playing Huesca. Now, I can't emphasise how big this game is, because I think if we win it, then we will go back to professional status, which will mean we might be able to keep some of our players. If we lose it, we lose all them players, and we're going to have to rely on this rabble. Now, Huesca finished down in 5th in their league, I think. Let's have a little look. Yeah, they did, down in 5th. Pretty similar the record to us, to be honest. They lost 9 matches, which is similar to us. First leg, we fall to a tight 1-0 defeat. It's the second leg, and that is definitely the biggest crowd we've ever had. Early on, we got a penalty. This was our big chance to get back into this match. Gonzalez stepped up. We blew it again. So that's going to mean another season at this level, and the future of the club is going to be in the mud. Wait, what? Is this a bug? Badalona have been promoted to replace Deportivo Aragon, who cannot be promoted. What the hell has happened here? Why can't they get promoted? Because they are Zaragoza, and Zaragoza are in that league. And there you see it. We get promoted because Deportivo Aragon can't. And it makes sense if you look at the past winners, because they won it last year as well. I mean, we've completely BS'd our way into the next level up, but I don't care. And the big news is right there. We've gone professional. So this is a saviour for this club. So as the prep for the next season began in the higher league, there's 3 gaping gaps at the club. The players in the squad there I was able to convince to sign the new deal, but some simply wouldn't do it. However, the change to professional status has meant that the scouting budget, the wage budget, looks a bit more promising. And it's meant I've managed to get 3 transfers already agreed for the new season. Hitting up the African leagues, we've got Mambo coming in to play centre-back, Chulu to come in from Zambia as a backup left-back, and Portuguese player Miguel Menino for midfield cover. And FYI, Sporting still hate us, but Badalona are now officially in the second level of Spanish football. And there's some big old teams here now. And the season preview, well, you could say it's not too kind. Keep scrolling. There we go. 500 to 1. So this will be fun then. 500 to 1. And do you know what's quite annoying? It's despite me managing to get quite a few players in. So this is last season. Now this season we've got Carlos Lomberes in, a striker. Neko Celrillo, who can play anywhere across the middle. John Baptiste Gorby is going to be a central midfielder. A bit of strength going on. Good all-round player. Good aggression. I think we needed it. Give us a different option. And Zalo is another striker. Now, at the back end of last season, I scored a few players as well. One of which was from Brazil again. The scouts have come up trumps. This time they went to Ramundo Anyone know Brazilian football? Where the hell is Ramundo? But they've come up with striker Elton Ferreira. Could be something special. Physicals need a bit of improvement in terms of pace, but not every striker's electric pace, and he can jump into a couple of other positions as well. Also got a new goalkeeper in Volishin, comes from Real Madrid. I think he's an upgrade from Castro. Despite all that, we're still 500 to 1 and we've got a lot of work to do. The league setup is 4 go down, playoffs, but 2 go up. I mean, we're not going to get promoted this season. I've said it before, but this season is all about staying at this level. And then something terrible happened. I went to register my players and I can't register about 7 of them because of that. Cannot be registered unless he meets the minimum wage requirement of $1,200. So let me get this straight. You negotiate a good deal for a player, £850 a week, but you get punished for that because they need to be on more money. And because all these players are on less than that, they can't play this season. The other problem I've got is I can't go to contract and discuss a new one because they've just signed for us. But there might just be a workaround. Let me explain. So somebody with more football manager knowledge than me has recommended that you move each player to the B squad. If you do this, you can then play them in each match. Not sure why, but apparently it works. I mean, we're about to find out. We're going to our first match against Real Oviedo. It looks like it works. It looks like it worked. Unfortunately, what didn't work was the result, as we got battered 3-0. Then lost our next home match, despite having the better of it. Same thing happened in the next match. Some tough lessons getting learnt here. And against Preseason favourites Levante at home, we somehow managed to concede 5. Despite having way more shots. Unsurprisingly, we sat bottom of the league after 4 matches. Pretty much the worst start we could have had. I don't know whether to panic yet, because look at this. If I go to stages and I drop it down to XG table, we should be 10th. For the chances we've had, we should be 10th. Comfortable, but we're bottom. I mean, the workaround of sending the players to the B team has worked. Most of them have played every match. Like Elton's played every match. He hasn't been great, but he's played every match. The problem I've got is we can't score a goal. Do we rip the script up and try something brand new? Because if we don't, this could be a long season. You know what I was saying about a long season? Well, that was a bit of an understatement. As the season hasn't improved, as we have not won a match yet. Unsurprisingly, after 15 matches, we sit rock bottom with only 5 points. And I can't blame the XG table anymore either, because we've slumped down there to 18th. To try and get out of this, I've used a wide variation of different tactics. But as you can see from the league table, nothing has worked, but there is a reason for it. So do you remember the workaround I talked about where I thought putting the players in the B team would then allow me to use them? Well, if you look closely there, all of them are unregistered. So since August the 31st, when it came to registering the players after transfer deadline, it wouldn't even let me use the workaround. So players like Papal Mambo have not kicked a ball in months. So what that means when I go to the tactics screen, I have a bench of 5 players and 2 of those are goalkeepers. So I've had to come to terms with the fact that the day one tactic that we've used so successfully, our players just are not good enough to get it working at this level. We did make a couple of signings, getting them on that 1,300 a week minimum. This is one Chris Uche. Now, he's not a bad player. He can play central midfield, defence, a little bit higher up. He's more of a destroyer, and I think it's probably what we need at this stage. The only other player I was able to bring in was another goalkeeper, which isn't exactly handy, but I've probably got the best keepers in the league now, because if you look at my number 1 goalkeeper, the boy we signed off Real Madrid, he's 6'8". I didn't even see that. That flipped by me. So he's 6'8". He's already valued between $500,000 and $1 million. He's way better than what we had, and he's been man of the match on a few times this season, which is quite impressive considering he's already conceded 28. So to get out of this slump, so normally it would be a case of, right, let's crank this tempo right up. Let's try getting this mid-block into a massive trigger press more situation, but we can't do that. So we've got to carry on regardless with our philosophy. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the midfielder back into like a defensive midfield zone there. I'm going to push Boy up front. Sorry, in behind, up front, like number 10. And I'm going to put Pina out on the left. I don't have many options. So this is about the best we can do. The best player, I think, is going to be Gishmira here. He's got a bit about him. He's basically a fantastic all-round midfielder and he's progressing nicely. So I'm going to jot in some extra PIs on him, more direct passes, take my risk, get further forward. Basically, please get me out of this shambles that I'm in. So we've got Burgos up next, then Fuenlabrada, Barça Athletic. Now, if we look at the table, Burgos are just kind of mid-table, 17th, so this is a good opportunity. So are Fuenlabrada and Barça Athletic are just above us, so these 3 games are absolutely vital. We're 8 points adrift. We're not out of it yet, but we need to get something out of these games. Don't get me wrong, there's been some good performances, like this one against Malaga, where we used this new system. We dominated and should have got the win, so all's not lost. So into this vital match against Burgos, and it turned into the Gismera show. All our hopes hang on this boy, and he's stepping up to the challenge. Out of nowhere, he scores a hat-trick, all from outside the box. And finally, we get our first win of the season, 4-0. That performance was all the more remarkable because last season, he scored once. And now he scored 3 in one match. So hopefully this more advanced role that we've got him in will help us get some points together. So Fuenlabrada next, we're trying to go back to back. No, this is the problem we have. You can see on the bench there, I've got 4 players, and then down here, Chulu's just back from international duty, but all these guys we can't use. And then we've got greyed out City. That's all we can use. If I try to include one of these boys, it will say... So it looks like confidence is up. If I pause it there after 18 minutes, you can see the match momentum is all us. We just need to get a goal when we're on top, which is something we haven't been doing. But then on 29 minutes, we make the breakthrough. Gorby with his first for the club. It appears the only goals we can score at the minute are from outside the box. I mean, we've done it again. Bang! I don't even have shoot on sight on. They're just smashing it from distance and it's going in. In fairness though, we are continuing to pass teams to death, and we get the 3rd goal to seal it, and shock horror, it's actually inside the box. So Pina scored a 4th. Now some people say this is morale manager, and what a turnaround. 1 win, 4-0, and we've won back-to-back 4-0s, which is nuts if you consider the previous games, the previous 15 matches we hadn't won, but now we're only 5 points off Cordoba, and things are looking a bit rosier. We haven't changed anything either, really. The team instructions have remained the same. We've just moved players around a little bit. So the time had came for our first game against Barcelona. Kinda. We somehow managed to lose that one despite absolutely dominating. So surviving is going to be super tough. Let's see what we can do till the end of the season. Fingers crossed. So the news is we have a new hero, and it's the striker. This is Carlos Lumbreras, who we signed from Osasuna, and he's bagged 20 goals this season. Now, his form has helped us overcome a bad run of results to give us a chance. And I say a chance because we're currently sat 17th in the league, 2 points off relegation, 1 game to go. So normally when you're having a bad season, you don't see chemistry lines like this. So I should be thankful for that at least. But as you can see, after that little good run we had in December, it carried on a little bit, but then it got a bit dodgy with a bunch of defeats. Hadn't won in like 10 matches, but this little run here starting from Malaga has gave us a chance. So if you look at the league table, we're sitting 17th, but this is where it gets funky. Under my head, we've literally been bottom of the league the entire season, look, until just recently. There you go, there's the surge that we've had from the bottom right up, and now we're just sitting in 17th. This will be a major achievement because if you look at the squad, and if we go to appearances, that's the amount of players we've used. It's not a lot, is it? Nearly everybody has played the full matches because we don't have any rotation options. When we go to the tactics, you'll see the bench is full of 2 goalkeepers, a couple of fullbacks, 1 backup striker. Saying that, the goalkeeper has had a superb season. He's on a 6.92. We haven't conceded that many goals. He's tightened it up a little bit. And Keyman Gismera, hilariously, has not scored since that hat-trick. So that's what you get for bigging someone up. The surprise package was Jean-Baptiste Gorby. If you want to pick this player up, you can get him from Braga's B team, I think. It's where he started. Braga, yes. At Braga, released, we picked him up on a free. Absolute snip. So what it means is we've got 1 match left against Racing Santander. Now, if you look at the league, Ponferrada, Real Murcia, Malaga, they're the ones that are all in this. So I think a point should be enough. In this vital match, we managed to pull off one of our worst performances of the season, going down 1-0. That meant we lost 3 out of our last 4, but somehow survived thanks to the other teams completely bottling it. Brutal season, but all that matters is that La Liga Smart Bank logo, La Liga 2, will remain for next season. We finished 18th after that media prediction of 22nd. And to be honest, that season was harder than it should be because of me. I didn't realise the rules. Next season we know the rules so we can have a bit of a better season. But to do that, let's hope that this improves a bit, because at the minute we'll be keeping the same blooming squad. But as it sits, we are still only that one step off where we need to be, and funnily enough, local rivals Barcelona have just won the league again. We just need to get into that league. Attempting to get to La Liga using non-meta tactics has so far been a bit up and down, but we do find ourselves one stage from our goal. So welcome back to a brand new season, and thankfully we've been busy in the transfer market improving this squad. It now looks quite big, so that's going to give us a lot more options as we get into this tough old season. Right, to be fair, the board gave us a little bit more money than we thought we were going to get, and I've spent it mostly on wages, because at this stage you're going to get more bang for your buck from just wages. So some of the standout players we have signed. Lucas Monzon from Uruguay comes from South American football. If you look at his history, he's had a bit of time in the United States, but for us, no nonsense centre back, all over it. Heading 16, aggressive, brave, perfect. African influence from Omega Madaka. This is the African version of Omega Luke. He's going to play it left back for me. He doesn't want to play there as much, but that's where I'm going to play him, I think, as an attacking left back, probably starting from the bench. Ignacio from Real Madrid's reserve team. I think he's going to be a bit of a false nine in there, because he's got good flair, his composure's outrageous, good finishing, looks like a good little drop-off striker. Little being the key word, because he's 5'6". And probably the standout signing from Barca. He played last season for Barca Athletic in this very division, scoring 5 times, but I think I can get more out of him. He's only 21, but he can play anywhere across the front, even in midfield. I've got him starting on the left wing at the minute, but when he's got standouts of agility like that of 16 and flair of 16, good play traits, we've got to be able to use him. So that's Juan Hernandez. So there's a clutch of other players as well, but it does mean for once we've actually got a full bench, and a lot of those players from last season, such as Elton Ferreira, have signed a new contract. So we have learned, we've got players on the right wage. We're no longer skimming people out of national minimum wage. Getting them into formation is going to be tricky. I really feel like we should probably play aggressive wingers, but part of me thinks going back to this version, but I've got so many attacking players now, it seems wrong not to try and use them. I might go with this 4-2-4, but as you can see from the team instructions, we're keeping it really minimal and just letting the players and their quality and the player instruction do their thing. But we are only in the early weeks of pre-season, so I would expect that tactic to change as we go. Now, interestingly, despite that good pre-season, we're not fancied at all and we're down in 17th, but I guess that's an improvement from last year. But if you look at the media dream 11 and you see players such as Tommaso Baldanzi, Sander Berger and Fernino, you can see why we might be up against it. But there are reasons to be optimistic, and with this new patient 4-2-4, we did blast the Espanyol's B team 4-0 in pre-season. But on the flip side, Valencia's B team just murdered me 4-1, so food for thought. I guess we'll find out shortly, because our first match of the season is newly relegated Girona. Just when I was getting cocky about the rules, I've blown it again. Maximum of 2 non-EU players can be registered, and I've got 3 that I would like to pick. Elton, do I dare leave him out for another season? He's chomping at the bit. He scored 2 goals in pre-season. The other option is young right back Rafael, who's got 2 assists, so he's looked really good. And the final option is my new monster centre half in Lucas Monzon. Looking at my options, I don't have many centre backs, and I certainly don't have many right backs, but I do have a lot of strikers. Oh, Elton, I'm so sorry. Now the good thing is he's young, he's only 20, so we'll put him on loan for this season, but he's not going to be happy. Early signs were good, with false 9 Ignacio dropping off and roaming around everywhere. This allowed the other players to cut inside, confusing the opposition defence, and we took an early lead after only 4 minutes through midfielder Gorby. However, after a topsy-turvy match, we ended up losing to pre-season favourite Girona 3-2. In Game 2, we fought back well with a good win against Numancia, and I'm not sure if this is the right formation to go with yet. I'm even considering going for a double false 9 to really stranglehold the possession. But goals for this season, number 1, stay in the league, but I've got a little eye on 6th place to try and get in these playoffs so we can hunt down Barcelona. So the season turned into a great success. Well, kind of. A success in the sense that we were nowhere near relegation throughout the season, but we finished 15 points behind those playoffs. And if you look at the league positions, you can see we kind of stayed exactly where we were throughout most of the season. The tactic ended up into this 4-2-3-1 with 2 inverted wing-backs tucking inside, allowing the central midfielders to bomb on. And it was the striker Lumbreras again who was a standout with the 3rd top scorer in the entire league. But to make up those 15 points, we're going to have to do some more transfers this season. Otherwise, we're never going to get our goal of getting into this league to eventually face Barcelona. Into a new season we go then. Right, what season is this? 7? Season 7? Yes, season 7. So 2 years in the Segunda, 2 years in the Primera, and this is going to be our 3rd season in the 2nd level of La Liga. But this isn't the season we really want to push for promotion, so we've made a few signings. We've actually spent money on one player, but the reason we did that is because last season we lost Gishmira. He got snapped up by Burgos for 1.2 million, triggering his release clause, so he went to them last season. But not bad profit, is it, when you sign someone for free and they go for 1.2 million. Back to us, we've done our usual trick of replacing players that we've lost with players from big teams that have got released, such as Pedro Fernandez, who can play pretty much anywhere, including defensive midfielder, and his old team, Barca Athletic, even tried him at right fullback, so he comes in on a free transfer. Fran from Real Sociedad. Now, there was loads of teams after Fran. He wants to play centre back, but he's only 5'10" with heading of 6, so I can see us retraining him to be a bit of a midfielder. And slightly different, we picked up electric winger Enric Freixenat from Olot. Now, Olot are a team in the Segunda division, but they seem to create players all over the place. So he's came, last year he was really good for them. 7.9 rating across the board, including a big breakout season. Free transfer, 15 pace, 15 acceleration, can run for days. That means my squad's a bit bloated, to be honest. It's a bit bloated. There's a good load of options in there, but it does mean that we can finally play Elton, so I can take him off the blooming loan list. Now, this season in La Liga High Promotion, as it's called in this, the 2nd level of La Liga, the big teams that we've got to come across are Girona again. Rising from the depths of hell is Deportivo. There's Malaga, there's Huesca, Granada. It's a competitive little league, this one. And that means in terms of the season preview, we're down at 25-1, but believe it or not, that is our best showing yet, so at least there's some progress. Now, with all our attacking players, we're going for something a little bit different. We've got 4-3-3 with one winger and a little false 9 as well. So here we go. I've decided to play into the team's strengths. So I've got a really good right wing back in Rafael, so we're going to play him as a right wing back. We've got the brilliant false 9 in Ignacio. There he is, with that flair, that passing, that vision, the first touch. So he's going to be a false 9, but slightly differently, we're going to play him out wide. So he's going to back up our wing back on attack. Covering for them is going to be a Carolero. He's just going to come across there like that. At the minute, I've got the defensive player, the Nigerian Cristantus Uche. He's going to be in there. Gorby will be in central midfield. Then we've got the electric winger of Hernandez, who I've still got high hopes for, from Barca Athletic. He was good last season. He's had a good pre-season so far. That does mean we're going to have 2 out-and-out strikers in Lumbreras, who just scores goals for fun, and Garay, who played out wide last season. I'm going to play him up front this season and advanced forward. So it's ambitious. I'm going to back up the 2 midfielders with the inverted wing back, who will sit somewhere in there. And you'll notice the absolute minimalistic team instructions. This is probably the least amount we've ever had now, with only slightly lower tempo used in possession. In transition will just be counter press, and out of possession just high defensive line mid block. It is as minimalistic as you can imagine. First game I used it was against La Liga team Mallorca. Bit of a free epic. We weren't great, but there was signs of promise. Then we got battered by a lower league team and I started questioning my life. But we've had a good comeback recently with a good 2-2 draw against League side Angers, and we've also just battered lower league side Toledo. So we will stick with it. We've got some good players in this team, specifically the goalkeeper, who continues to be here somehow, somewhere, the 6'8" Ukrainian Voloshin. So last season was a below mid-table finish. This season we're going to try and push for this 6th place. Now, the season didn't start great with a home defeat to Leganes in a game that we should have got something from. And we followed that up with a defeat away to Las Palmas, but I was seeing promising signs, so there was no way I was going to change the tactic. And that proved to be the right decision as we went on a hell of a run, including beating pre-season favourites Levante 5-3, with all 3 strikers getting involved there. And the decision to move Garay to advance forward proved the right one, as we smashed Real Sociedad 5-1, and he scored 4 of the 5. And we hit our goals this season, finishing 6th in the league, which led to the playoffs. A tricky tie though against 3rd placed Girona. In the home leg, the strikers combined for Lumbreras to give us the lead. But in a tight match, Girona stole a 3-1 win. In the second leg, we did exactly the same as the first leg, with Lumbreras giving us another early lead. But alas, it wasn't enough as Girona get the equaliser and we get knocked out 4-2. But progress was definitely being made, so we stormed straight into Season 8, which started with us cashing in on player Maras Carena, a player we only signed for free the season before. His release clause was triggered by IBAR for 2.5 million. But overall, I was happy with the squad and just went for some backup signings, although I did spend a little bit of money on a few players, but I don't expect any of them to be regular starters. And for Season 8, we slimmed the squad down, so it's about the perfect size that I like to operate with. We're absolutely sticking to the same tactic with no tweaks involved. Small progress again in the pre-season odds for Season 8 as we rise to 12th. Problem is, this season we've got Valencia to deal with because they got relegated from La Liga. And so far, at the midway point of the season, after a bit of an iffy start, we're now absolutely firing. And we're locked in on that 6th place position again, but look how tight it is. There's 5 points separating the top 7. Right folks, this has gone way better than I thought. With this minimalistic tactic, here it is. We've had it for the best part of 2 seasons now. And if you look at the data hub, which tells you all about how successful your tactic is or is not, you can see here in our last 50 games playing with this, because this is the only tactic we've used, our clear-cut chance ratio is plus 29. So it's definitely doing something right. Now, obviously you're going to concede a few goals, mostly down this right-hand side, which is where the Caballero's there, just to try and shore that up. But when you've got Rafael bombing down the right, combine them with the false 9, it's really nice to watch in match. So the front three are going really well again. Ignacio there, the false 9. I'm not looking for goals for him, I'm looking for assists, and he's got 9 assists this season. Last season he only got 5, and his average rating is through the roof. So he's performing better. The central point is Lumbreras, as always, 17 in 21. His overall record for us is blooming fantastic, and he's on marks for his best season as well. And the guy on the left hand side, Garay, 8 in 13, so he's given us goals and assists. Valencia after him, go away. Now, one of the best signings we have found is John Baptiste Gorby. You can pick him up from Braga's B team, I think. He's now in his 4th season with us. This is probably, well, it is his best season yet. He's the all-round midfielder that keeps this tactic kind of working. And Hernandez down the left has finally revealed his potential with 10 assists and 7 goals. This is his best turnout for us by a long way yet. So it's got to be playoffs again for us this season, but look at some of the teams we're up against in this league now. Girona, Tenerife, Deportivo, Cadiz, Valencia. All, historically, La Liga teams. And there's little Badalona just on the brink. But we're only 3 points off the top spot. If you look at it in a bit more detail, we are the top scorers in the league by an absolute mile with 55, but we are shipping a few this season. Now compare that to last season, where we finished 6th. We did score 82, which is fantastic, and we only conceded 56, so we were really solid last season. This season, it looks like we're going to concede more, but we are scoring a load more as well. Transfer window is about to open. I don't think I'm going to make any signings unless someone comes and steals a player like they have been. Like if you look at the last few seasons, Maras Carena went there for 2.5 million. The season before that, it wasn't too bad. Just loan signings, but the season before that, that's when Gismera got stolen from us. So we just need to be a little bit careful, but I do have pretty much my perfectly sized squad there. Okay, I think we've unlocked something with this minimalistic tactic because this performance against Atletico's B team, bumping. We scored 5 times, yes we conceded 2, but look how many shots we had. And if you look at the match momentum, we completely battered them. And since the winter break, this is a bit of a theme. There's been a couple of glitches, but we're on a great run at the minute, which has shot us up to 3rd place in the table. But this league continues to be tight as hell. 1st place with 66, 6th place with 61. But direct your attention to the goal scorers charts, and you can see why we are flying. Lumbreras and Gorka Garay, 46 goals between them. The front three, absolutely electric. Ignacio just piecing it all together with 12 assists. And wingback Rafael down the right hand side has got 11 assists as well. With roughly 9 games to go, this is going to be a hell of a run-in. So I said it was going to be a hell of a run-in. Well, we've just went to Eibar and absolutely played them off the park. We won 3-0. Look how many options we have in the box. Our boys are absolutely flying. We've scored so many goals this season. Yes, we conceded a few, but we've scored an absolute ton. Now, this game ended 3-0, but what I want to show you is the match momentum. This is one of the bigger teams in the league, Eibar. They couldn't get a kick. It helped when they went down to 10 men, but they didn't go down to 10 men until the 64th minute, and by then we'd beat them. So that's been our run in the back end of the season. So since February till the end of May, we've only lost 2 games, which means with 1 game to go, we are on the brink of automatic promotion, accomplishing our goal of getting to La Liga. But look how tight it is. Girona, they're up 85 points. We, however, 82, Tenerife 82, and Cadiz 80. Any of those teams can go up automatically. Now, our last game's a tough looking one against Racing Santander, who are currently 7th in the league, so they're gunning, I think, for the playoffs. So all's been going well. There's a couple of minor knocks here and there, but there's one major injury to Hernandez, who was absolutely flying. Remember, he plays left wing, he doesn't play up front. 13 goals, 14 assists, cruciate ligament, out for 5 to 8 months. I mean, it's fortunate we've got a good squad. There's been loads of people jumping in and picking up the slack. And remember that Data Hub report? Well, we've got even better. It's now up to plus 32 chances for. Remember, this is the most minimalistic tactic you will see. There's only 3 team instructions really, and I've got some player instructions here and there. So we've got to stay wider on Garay, who's a natural winger, so he likes to float out there. Lumberes, nothing. Ignacio, nothing. Carolero, just getting further forward, so he kind of operates like a mini Mazzala, if you like, but not as aggressive. Gorby's got probably the most in the team because I want him to get further forward, and what a season he has had with 6 goals and 6 assists. The winger on one side, he does a little bit more. He's going to close down, he roams, he cuts inside. The wing back, hardly any, and then you've got a couple of centre backs who aren't doing much at all. I thought I better check the league rules because you know how sometimes I get stung with rules. So yes, first and second do get automatic promotion to La Liga. Third, fourth, fifth and sixth go into the promotion playoff. And do you know what? I don't want any part of that promotion playoff because if you look at the league table, Valencia, Deportivo, Cadiz, these teams I don't really want to play against. So I guess it's time for some last day drama then, eh? At half time we went in 2-1 down, Santander getting on top of us, but thankfully we had luck on our side as a moment of madness from Castro led to them going down to 10 men. We almost immediately capitalised through midfielder Menino, and then later on the big squad game came into play as backup player Fran smashed that in, which meant we claimed the victory and accomplish our goal. In the 8th season, Badalona are in La Liga. That last game of the season was kind of sums up our season where we score loads of goals, but we conceded a couple as well, but we've got the job done. And what's blown my mind is, this just came in, the budget for next season will be 10 million near enough, 10 million. Which means the club's coffers look a bit like that. They've got 5 million in the bank. They are nice and healthy now. It'd be pretty good to get our own stadium because we're still playing at Sabadel's like we have done for the past 6 seasons. So we've done it. We've got to La Liga with the non-meta approach. I mean, there's about 5 team instructions there, so you can't say we haven't earned it. I mean, it helps when you've got 2 of your strikers who bagged, how many is that? 59 goals between them? And the other one pitched in with 9. I mean, beautiful. This has opened my eyes up to a new way of playing Football Manager where we just concentrate on the players' abilities and not emphasise the team instructions as much. So to make this even more effective, I think we'll start putting some traits in as well. So with someone like Ignacio who plays in that false 9 role with the flair and the vision and the first touch, we're going to chuck in killer balls as well because that can only help. So go up the training, discuss new trait. So I've got a passing training. I'm going to try to add killer balls into his game. That's just going to make him even more effective. So we've gained promotion with 111 goals. Yes, we conceded 69, but 111 goals got us there. And of course, that does mean that next season we will come head to head with our close rivals, Barcelona. So Badalona are a La Liga team, and the most important thing is, when do we play Barcelona? Looking at the schedule list, we don't have to wait long. We go to the Nou Camp on the 2nd game of the season. The next time we play them will be around Christmas time on January the 14th. It's pretty wild to see Badalona in La Liga with all those big teams. And the season preview, well, let's not talk about that too much because it has us at 900 to 1. But to give it our best shot, we were pretty busy in the transfer market. The standout was the 10 million we spent on Williams, who's going to be a false 9 backup, but he could probably take over because he looks like he could be special. My scouts came up trumps in Africa, finding Mohamed Fakir to put pressure on Rafael at right wing back. there was a clutch of other players, including the amazingly named Bebo Bad Boy for centre-back. And he lives up to it with bravery of 20. And yes, for the new season, we will be keeping faith with the 4-3-3, which is pretty brave or pretty stupid, you decide. So our first game in La Liga, we got a pretty solid 0-0 draw against Athletic Bilbao, which meant it was time. The whole point of this challenge was to get to this point where we face Barcelona. And if you're curious, this is what their team looks like at the minute, with Diomande playing at centre-back, Lamine Yamal and De Jong are still there, and up front is the interesting combination of Ansu Fati and Samu Omradian. So here it is, look at tiny Badalona in a derby game at the Nou Camp. Absolute scenes. Unfortunately we fell behind early, but we were giving it a good shot. And then it happened. Tiny Badalona in the Nou Camp score against Barcelona. Unfortunately, they'd already scored 6. Careful what you wish for, right? But we've made it. We're in La Liga. We've played Barcelona. That was the goal of this save. Now I'm going to try and keep them in the league. And the big thing is that next game against Barcelona, which is when? January the 14th. It's all on that. But I just want to see if I can keep these boys in the league as well. It's finally happened. We're a long way into the season, but this could be our first win of the season in La Liga. Nope, Elche equalised in the 93rd minute, which means we haven't won in 11 matches, and we sit bottom of the league with only 5 points. Next is Real Madrid away. We actually had the chance from the penalty spot in this one. Badalona at the Bernabeu. A respectable 2-0 defeat. So do you know what? We have no way been as bad as the results have shown, but it looks like we're finally going to get our first victory here. Touch wood. At home to Real Zaragoza. If you look at the match stats in the corner, you can see we've absolutely battered them. As long as they don't score here, hopefully we'll see this through. We saw it through, we get the win, but 30 shots at this level, you can't tell me we're the worst team in this league. And thanks to picking up like 6 draws, we're not out of the equation here. We've got 9 points, but we're only 4 points off Getafe, so we've got a bit of a chance. So there you go, XG table shows, although struggling, we should be out of the relegation zone, so fingers crossed, we're doing okay, And in that crucial game against Getafe, we took the lead and held on for a massive win. Okay, we've had a couple more defeats to Sevilla and Atletico Madrid, so we've dropped back down to the bottom of the table, but we are only 3 points off, but all of that doesn't matter now because our next match is the big one. It's the one we've been waiting for this entire save. It's Barcelona at the Sabadell. Now, our rivals Barcelona are top of the league and they've only lost once this season, and they did beat us 6-1 in the first game. So here we are with Barcelona at Badalona Stadium. Now, granted, they completely battered us for most of the game. However, there were 1 or 2 signs that we might be able to get something from the match as we pushed forward a little bit more in the second half. Into injury time now. In the 92nd minute, Barcelona come on the attack, but we managed to foil it just about. And then in the 95th minute, we got a corner. It is truly unbelievable as Badalona beat their mighty rivals Barcelona 1-0 in the 95th minute. Who says that tactic can't beat the big boys? As far as I'm concerned, that is mission accomplished. We've got to La Liga and we've bloody beat Barcelona. Granted, our goalkeeper got man of the match, but who cares? It's even more important that it raised us up to 18th in the league, so we've got a chance of surviving and we've kind of dented Barcelona's title hopes at the same time. We then went away to Bilbao and beat them 3-1 with 10 shots, 10 on target, and then somehow managed to lose 7-2 to Alaves. We haven't got long to go, we've just got a massive win against Real Zaragoza with our boy Carlos Lumbreras showing that he can do it at the top level. We've also just beaten rivals Getafe, who are in a relegation fight with us, and Elton is on the score sheet. No more loans for you, my man. So after a wild season, like topsy-turvy stuff, with 2 games to go, we're out of the relegation zone by a point. But we've got some really hard games to come. Atletico away, Sevilla at home. And despite getting absolutely pumped by Atletico 5-1, everybody else lost, so it went down to the final game of the season. We played really well in this one, but despite that, Sevilla smashed us with 4 goals. But don't worry folks, because everybody else lost, meaning we survive. So it's mission accomplished for the various versions of the non-meta tactic. We managed to do it, get Badalona to the top level, and we'll never forget that result against Barcelona.